World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is held on 15th June 2024 and a report for the same was released at India International Centre, Lodi Road, New Delhi. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is celebrated on 15th June 2024 and a report was launched at India International Centre one day earlier on 14 June 2024. The functions consisted of various discussions held in the main auditorium of India International Centre. There were a large number of participants at the function at India International Centre, Lodi Road, New Delhi.
Human wisdom which is there in full strength in this room right now, and with that I would like to just thank each one of you for bringing a very special dimension to this particular inaugural session, where we looked at more fundamental changes that can happen which will trigger the path for a much more inclusive space for the others. So thank you very much. Deeply appreciate it.
Just request everybody to we have a backup plans.
A lot of things have already been talked about, especially with regard to the increase in population of the elderly. So one thing that is actually coming out because of the increase in population of the elderly, by 2050 India is slated to have somewhere around 20% of its population catering to the elderly. But then the thing is, what do we do about companies who have to cater to this huge population? And we have a very distinguished set of speakers, all corporate heads, business heads, and these are the people who actually scale up programs and ensure that all of their products, all of their services, all of the insurance that we talk about, the elder care services that we talk about are able to reach the people who need it most, or maybe the people who are able to avail the services. So one thing also that comes to my mind is there is a lack of, there seems to be a lack of recognition that the elderly, including men, women, as well as all the gender desegregated data that Anupama talked about. There is a need for ensuring that this, learning that this group is not a very homogeneous group. The needs are very different, the market is very different, and I'm basically talking from maybe a business point of view. The market is very different and we need to have very customized products maybe, as well as services for the elderly. So apart from the fact that
to have care and support, they're not independently able to meet all of their basic the activities of daily living, like getting dressed or feeding themselves, managing their finances, going shopping or cooking or something like that. And I think there's an uptick in abuse and neglect in those settings. I think when you look at what's causing that, in all three of these, I think what's happening is an element of dehumanization. So instead of seeing a person in their whole self, like this story that we had about two angles on the same family, instead of seeing people in that whole self, there's an idea like we're just going to do this thing for them. And I think you can see it with the hashtag here, the have you ever asked. I think what happens when somebody develops care and support needs is that it exacerbates this idea that the adult child is taken care of. And when they say that, meaning feeding, bathing, getting you dressed, but not actually engaging a full, whole self and the autonomy. So that's the way I'm thinking about this. And then when I want to speak about older people's associations, It's some of the powerful initiatives that they are doing in different parts of the world to address the care needs. And I think one of the things that's probably at the root of it, and what we see when we do evaluations of older people's associations projects, is there's something about the social connection and the relationship building that occurs when you are working together as volunteers, when you are trying to figure out what each other needs. I was visiting in Myanmar some older people's associations. They're called inclusive self-help clubs. And I met this woman and she told me, you know, before we had this club in our community, every day people would walk by and they'd say, hello, Mrs. So-and-so, how are you today? But nobody knew that I was having difficulties with these other things. Now they know, and so they come by and they say, hello, how are you? Can I please help you feed your animals? Or like they have volunteer-based, this is the example that Imtiaz was saying, quite a few of the older people's associations have volunteer-based home care model. It was developed in Republic of Korea and then piloted across the 10 Southeast Asian nations. And in India as well, HelpAge India has done pilot, and now it looks like it's quite expanded. Figured out that the government said there should be a certain number of people, like a primary health care center per certain number of people. And then they went and they canvassed all of their communities and realized they didn't have enough healthcare centers, given the government regulation, and they went and lobbied for that and increased the number of public primary healthcare centers. So there's a lot that you can do, but I think you just need to look, and I'm out of time. My last thing to say is, for all of us in the room, I think that if you want to be part of preventing elder abuse,
but it is mostly the females who come. And once they are inside, one, I told you, we lose patients to follow up. Second, sometimes we advise definitive treatment for which they do not turn up. We may advise surgery for which they do not come. We can understand there are issues of logistics and maybe finance, that's the main crunch. Though we do not take money, though we are free. But yes, sometimes, occasionally a patient needs to get something from outside. Those are the issues they face. We are trying to get a pharmacy within the precincts of the Center for Aging so that the people do not have to go out, patients don't have to go out. Another thing that happens with patients who are admitted is loneliness. You will be surprised, patients are admitted, are either depressed or lonely, are
seriously, because my own work in the area of the private sector is showing that the middle sections of the upper middle and the upper classes have exited from public provisioning. There is a market today based right from home-based care to retirement communities, and also looking at the long-term and assisted living. So I think we need to understand this question of solidarity. Do we have a sense of social solidarity about the question of aging? Do I feel the same need as somebody who is poor? The reality is no. What is happening to family formations across these classes?
I need to be back between 3 to 3:50 at the yeah. So I will work on it.
Is possible? Where is your work? City, not Taj Mansi.